Trump versus Carney, the tariff war that shook the G7. Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we're diving into the explosive standoff between U.S. President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. What began as a tariff increase has now spiraled into one of the most intense trade confrontations in recent G7 history. This isn't just about steel, it's about sovereignty, supply chains, and the unraveling of diplomatic trust. On the surface, it was a simple move. Trump slapped a sweeping 50% tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum. But the impact was instant. Factories from Montreal to Vancouver paused. Markets trembled. Protesters filled city streets. And Carney, usually calm and collected, went toe-to-toe with the most unpredictable leader in the West. The annual G7 summit, held in the scenic Rockies, transformed into a global stage of confrontation. As helicopters buzzed and protesters chanted outside the Lakeview Chalet, Carney stood his ground. Trump smirked, calling himself the tariff man. Carney replied, "My country is not for sale." In off-camera meetings, Trump suggested the 50% tariff was just the beginning and threatened further hikes on Canadian auto exports. Carney responded with icy precision. "You build a barrier, both sides shut down." Automotive stocks plunged. Investment banks issued warnings. North American auto production could shrink 10% within 2 quarters. In Detroit, layoffs loomed. In Ontario, parts suppliers halted shipments. Across industries, alarm bells rang. This wasn't just boardroom tension. Canadian streets erupted in protest from Halifax to Vancouver. The message was clear. Allies don't bow to bullies. Signs and banners waved from balconies and bridges. Social media exploded with #NoTariffs. Meanwhile, U.S. factory owners and workers saw the impact. Stalled logistics, delayed shipments, and pink slips. French President Macron and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen backed Canada. Macron took a jab at Trump's past Greenland proposal, saying, "An Arctic is not for sale." Ursula warned, "If your supply chain can be stopped at the push of a button, you're not competitive." Canada didn't stay quiet. Carney announced moves to escalate, taking the issue to the WTO, offering credit guarantees to Canadian exporters, and threatening reciprocal tariffs if the U.S. didn't back down within 60 days. A quiet, calculated retaliation. Markets shook. The Toronto Stock Exchange lowered forecasts. The Canadian dollar dipped. The U.S. saw red across construction and automotive sectors. Behind the scenes, Canada started strengthening trade ties with Japan and the EU, focusing on critical minerals and long-term supply independence. In a small but pointed move, a Canadian military plane refused to carry U.S. delegation luggage, a symbolic gesture that echoed through diplomatic channels. It wasn't just about metal anymore. It was about respect, autonomy, and fair rules. As the summit closed, there was no joint statement. Just icy stares, a fractured alliance, and mounting questions. With LNG projects in limbo and industrial deals at risk, North America's economic future is at a crossroads. Carney summed it up best. This crisis will pass. The question is, who will pay the price? If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Is Canada drawing a new line in global trade? Or will Trump's tariffs force a deal? Stay tuned as we follow the fallout of the G7 trade war. Thanks for watching. Until next time.